Welcome to today's Global Connections program. I'm Bill Miller. Since really before 1950, before the conflict between the Koreas in 1950 to 53, we've been hearing so much about North and South Korea. Today we're fortunate and we have someone who's very knowledgeable of this area of the world. And it's going to bring us up to date on some very interesting aspects. My guest today is Dr. James Chin-Kyung Kim, who has a Doctorate of Humanities from National University in South Korea. In 2011, Dr. Kim received an honorary citizenship in North Korea. Also, Dr. Kim has not only a passport for North Korea, South Korea, China, but also the United States. Dr. Kim, welcome to today's Global Connections program.
Well, I'm great privilege to you accept me to talk with me.
I appreciate you being with me today. Thank you so very much. This was put together at the very last minute, and we didn't have much time to coordinate. But I do want to get into this. First off, I did not mention in the opening, but you started two universities. You're the founding president of the University of Pyongyang University of Science and Technology in Pyongyang, the capital. Pyongyang in North Korea, and Yanbia University of Science and Technology in Yanji, China. What are these two institutions like, and why did you start them?
Well, only the education can change and peoples, and also we can make the peace on the earth. So I had dream. And during the Korean War, I was just 15 years old. I was engaged with fighting for South Korea. And at that time, I met many U.S. troops, armies. And one of the U.S. Army chaplain gave me St. John's Gospel to me. So during the fighting, we have no fighting day. So we have time. I read that St. John's Gospel in Bible. So I believed in God. Since then, I am praying, I am dreaming that one day I like to pay back for the war. War is any means, is guilty. It's a really sin. So I went to the Europe. I was studied in Switzerland, Dr. Francis Schaeffer's library, and then I moved to England, and I studied Bristol, at that time Clifton Theological College, now Trinity Theological College. I was studied there. Then I come back, so I dreamed to go to the North Korea and China to bringing the peace. So anyway, God answered my prayer. So I went. I built. Ordinary speaking is a really absolutely possible things. But with God, everything possible.
So St. John's teachings in the Bible during the Korean War, Korean conflict, set you on the path. You went to Switzerland, you went to England, went back to North Korea and South Korea, and then you started this university. You're an honorary citizen of North Korea. How did you get that citizenship? That's very unique, is it not? It's not very often that a person is a citizen of both.
My North Korean citizenship, here is 001.
001. Okay.
001. He said, great leader, Chin-Kyung Kim, will give you the honorary citizenship, 001. And this citizenship is the chairman of the military, is the Kim Jong-il's name. He gave me this,
Okay.
So, and also, South Korea, I am citizen. And also, Chinese government. Also, I built university first in China, and permanent citizenship
Well, that's a very unique situation that you're in, for sure.
Also, American passport.
American passport, too. You have had a very interesting story over your life, and we won't have time to get into it all day, all of it today. But this one book you just shared with me a few minutes ago, it's called God's Collaborator, I Love My Country, written by Stella Price, Chin-Kyung Kim's story.
Yes.
What is your story that's contained in this book?
My story is a very simple, but very truth. I studied many countries. I worked so many things, but only things I found. If you're going to have any kind of the political systems, political theory, there is no peace. Because every country, their own, policies, But if you have, so I always say, I am not communist, I am not capitalist, I am a lobbyist.
A lovist.
Lobbyist, L-O-V-E.
L-O-V-E-I-S-T.
Yeah, I-S-T. But this world is first human being starting time, God gave us love. But still, this word not in dictionary. And the Chinese writer wrote about my biography. I said, don't write my name. So write my ism. It's called loveism.
Loveism.
Yeah. In the Oriental language, there's no language of the only Korean language have the loveism, loveist. But Chinese, Japanese, they have no that kind of word. So Chinese, they put on the through love can solve everything.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we think back not too long ago, there were songs about all the world needs now is love. A variety of approaches to promoting better understanding, world peace, that type of thing. How do we do that? As we look at the world today, there's so much tension, not just on the Korean Peninsula, but in other areas of the world. We look at the Middle East. We look at some even areas in South America, and really within countries too. How do we promote this? Do we have people who study this, or do we have people who go out and talk to the leaders of the world and say, don't be so rigid with your ideas and your ideologies? How do we promote this?
Very, very simple. For instance, after Second World War, President de Gaulle, and
France.
Churchill, and Deutschland, Germany, they had First World War, Second World War. If remain in Deutschland on the earth, they will take another Third World War. So they go into something, Deutschland, not more on the earth. But Deutschland, Germany, they repented.
They repented for
then,
World War II.
Christian ethics, any kind of sin you committed sin, if you repentance, have the forgiveness. So that kind of ethics, that kind of things have the European way of thinking. So all European countries forgive them, Deutschland. Then Deutschland did good things. So now also Europe Union, they made the Europe Union. First they had the Europe country, they had the union for the schools. Wherever they go to the college, university, no visa. And then politics comes, Then economy comes, and the politics comes last. So I really, very strongly, my lifetime, after I finished my study in Europe, I'm propagandas, I am talking. Anytime if I have a chance, I am talking to the leader of the leaders of the country in Asia. Only one way, there's no way, If our Asia going to together, Northeast, especially Northeast Asia Union, nuclear problem in North Korea, okay, solve. I talk to the leader of the North Korean people, North Korean leaders. They say, if we don't have anything afraid to some outside strong country to attack us, why we have the nuclear? Why we need the nuclear? So if going to have only the solution, if Northeast Asia Union comes, North Korea also, they will give up. They do not need nuclear. There is no way, So really, this is a crucial moment now.
So the idea is to have the Northeastern Asian countries develop something similar to the European Union and come together and to provide, mutual protection for each other, have agreements that they won't attack one another, and if one's attacked from outside, they will help to defend those countries.
Yes, but this is not the land. This is our land. This is our land. No, now, you see, now is all the world situations that change, world atmosphere change, So, and I like to strongly suggest this chance, and all world powerful country people can support, organize, make Northeast Asian Union. Very simple.
Is there movement towards doing that? Have they talked about doing it?
I talked many times.
Are there any activities to help it come online to be an actuality?
So this is something, and lack of the Asian people's philosophy, because Asians, the philosophy or way of thinking is different than Western people's way of thinking. Western people's way of thinking is Christian, something kind of the, philosophy, the Christian, Christian basics, Bible basics. They have the past is not very important. If the past is if you repent, any kind of the committed sin is forgiven. And always Western way of thinking is planning for the future. And Eastern country and the way of thinking is that they have the past and the present. They have no future, So, no future. So we can make a future. And so Asia, if you're going to bring the peace without war, there's no way if we adopt Asian Union. Everything okay. Everything very simple.
Simple. Well, you're watching Global Connections Television, which is a privately funded, independently produced program. The opinions expressed on Global Connections are solely those of the moderator and his guest. We would invite our viewers to go to our website at www.globalconnectionstelevision.com to view previous programs. Also, if you're involved with a PBS or community access television station, or perhaps you're with an educational institution that has an intra-campus television hookup, or you just have an interest in our programs, you have a website and you just want to share them with the public, with your family, friends, whatever, please feel free to go to our website, globalconnectionstelevision.com, and download the programs. Global Connections is provided free of charge as a public service to help people better understand international issues and how they impact our lives. Today we're taking a look at the Korean Peninsula, and hopefully we're going to come up with some solutions here in a moment as to how we can resolve some of the tensions on the peninsula. My guest today is an expert in this area. My guest today is Dr. James Chin-Kyung Kim, who has a doctorate in humanities from the National University in South Korea. And he is also the founder of two universities, one in North Korea and one in China. But Dr. Kim, please, what were you going to say?
Just I like to talk one thing.
Sure.
Today I visited Abraham Lincoln's birthplace. If we adopt Abraham Lincoln's philosophy, Abraham Lincoln's policy, the world peace comes. When I was in middle school, I really respected when I read Abraham Lincoln's biography. He said, the politics for the people, by the people, of the people. You know, if all political leaders, they do their policy for the as like Abraham Lincoln said, for the people, by the people, of the people, all peace comes on the earth.
Hopefully that'll happen.
Hopefully.
Let's talk about solutions. We know the situation on the Korean Peninsula. We've been reading about it. We know that North Korea now has nuclear weapons. There are 9 nuclear powers in the world today. We hear about so many different strategies. Some people are talking about limited conflict. Some people talk about giving the North Koreans a bloody nose, which is totally impractical. You don't just punch somebody and don't expect somebody to punch you back. But we talk about how we can have peace between North Korea and South Korea. And I think back to the middle 1990s when President Bill Clinton and his people cracked an agreement with North Korea. And they basically had an agreement, went on for about 6 years. The North Koreans shut down their nuclear production. And the agreement said that, one, there would be no regime change. At that time, it was Kim Jong-il, who was the president or the leader of North Korea, as I recall. And they were not going to try to overthrow him. Secondly, they said that they would reduce the military exercises between with the United States and South Korean forces, which was really a very sore point for the North Koreans. And the third was that the countries of the world would help provide fuel and food assistance. That agreement was in place for almost 6 years. The Bush administration came in 2001. They basically said, no, we're not going to do it. They threw it out, and we went back to square one. The North Koreans started redeveloping their program. Is that type of solution possible today, or what are some of your solutions? I know we're talking about love, we're talking about of the people, by the people, for the people, but what are some solutions that might work to help bring peace to the peninsula and to reduce the tension and future conflict, perhaps?
Well, I am very sorry. I am working with the communist country, China and North Korea, past 30 years. I am freely going, coming, I meet the leaders and so on. I am very, very sorry to say there is no way to have a peaceful solution in the political way. Believe me, you know.
In the political way, you can't do
only
it.
the war, you know. Only the war. So, just I said, if we do and going to solution for political way, I very confidently I can tell to you, North Korea never give up nuclear. If North Korea do not give up nuclear, United States of America, they do not keep silent. You know, there is no way something tragedy will become. So this is a very, very sensitive moment, very, very difficult moment. So please, political leaders, listen from me. Very, very good solution, peaceful solution is going to have the Northeast Asia Union. Only the way.
Many people agree with what you're saying as far as the North Koreans will never give up their nuclear weapons because that would put them in a very weakened position, obviously. The key now, I think, is to stop the production, to make sure that they don't develop more advanced weapon technology, and that they can start promoting discussions between the North and the South as to how to really normalize the relationships that they had perhaps before the Korean War and move in that direction. But you're right, the North Koreans probably will never give up their nuclear weapons. We saw what happened with Muammar Gaddafi, who gave up his weapons, and he got killed. That's right, he got killed for
they told me
for thanks for doing it.
Yes.
So that will probably never happen. So we're going to have to rethink how we approach the situation.
Shall I tell you another one?
Please.
And I talked with the leader of the North Korea. If United States of America can have the peace treatment with the North Korea, they will stop developing nuclear. What's the meaning of the peace treatment with the USA? And the USA military should be thrown out back to the United States in South Korea military, U.S. military stations in South Korea. You know, I don't think United States can agree. You know,
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
Yes, peace treatment. They say, U.S. military go back.
Yeah, the chasm seems so wide between the North Koreans, South Koreans, and the U.S. that we have to start, it seems like to start with small steps to build confidence and to start a dialogue, actual diplomatic dialogue, and not talk about military intervention. People keep forgetting they're only, 75 miles, 100 kilometers between Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, and Seoul, the capital of South Korea. And you don't even need nuclear weapons to kill millions of people within 2 days of fighting. All they need are conventional weapons. But one thing that did happen recently, we saw the Olympics in Pyeongchang, which were very successful Winter Olympics. We saw that the only sister of Kim Jong-un invited President Moon of South Korea to come to North Korea for a visit, which is the first time that's ever happened. The North Korean delegation was in South Korea for the first time ever. This, it seems like one small step moving towards dialogue and towards some type of discussion and negotiation. How do you feel about that? Do you think, is this positive?
It's very good. And I'm enjoying doing like that. I use the enjoying, you know. But
which is a relative term.
But
right.
The principality is not resolving, you know. If North Korea do not give up nuclear, and the free world people, they do not silent, you know. They do something action, you know. So the Pyeongchang Winter Olympic is a good moment, but politically, I don't think we can find out the way to go out for the solution of the nuclear problem.
No, I agree with you. The chasm, as I mentioned before, is so wide that it's going to take incremental steps of confidence building to bring the leaders together to try to focus on this problem. And there are areas of the world, we look at Northern Ireland and the troubles that existed there. And for years, in a very small geographical area, people who are all basically alike, except for their religious backgrounds, and they were killing one another, but they made incremental steps. And so it is possible to do that. And of course, we have to be open-minded and we have to look at what is potentially possible. But so many people are saying the military option should be taken off the table. It is not a logical approach. There's no way you can have a limited military strike. If the U.S. were to strike North Korea, they would hit back. There's no doubt about it. And nobody knows where you would stop. Do you think the military option should be taken off the table?
Yes, military option is no option. You know, this I kill you or you kill me. You know, there's no way. That's the option. You know, I kill you or you kill me. That's the option. You know, no option for peace. And I like to say again, and I'm very proudly can say, everyone, single of them say, when I am going to build the university in the North Korea or 30 years ago in China. It's absolutely impossible. But I did.
They told you not to do it. It was impossible.
Yes, impossible. Why you spend all your money to that? You know? Why you bringing all my people? You tell lie to doing this. You know. But I say, when I show to them love, this is not kind of the male or female's love. It's a true love. And Chinese government published this Loveism book. You know, that title is a true love. through love, can solve everything.
You know, there are many famous Koreans that have been over the years, but one of the most famous that I just thought of a moment ago has been Ban Ki-moon,
Oh, yes.
the former Secretary General of the
Yes.
United Nations, the
I know
eighth
him very
Secretary of
well.
the UN. He is now living in South Korea.
Yes.
He is a very prominent official.
Yes.
He knows the world. He led
Sure.
the 193 countries of the UN, or administered to them for 10 years. Very briefly, in the last 30 seconds we have, what role can he play to help promote peace?
Well, I think he will have the lovest ambassador coming. He should go to the North Korea and South Korea. He knows the global world. He was the leader of the global world. We are very proud of we have the Ban Ki-moon as the UN General Secretary. So he have some kind of have to do something. So I think Ban Ki-moon, North Korea will be welcome, but he do not have the he do not say something principle of things. And we can have some kind of the peaceful agreement.
Exactly. And of course, he has, as you say, he knows the world. He was the chief administrative officer for the 193 countries. Every country in the world basically was at the United
Everyone
Nations.
respects him.
Exactly. They know him and they know
I love
him well.
him.
But that's great. Well, that's a good point to end on. And Dr. Kim, I want to thank you so very much
Thank you
for a
very
very
much.
interesting and a very
it is
informative program.
I am greatly honored.
And we will keep working on peace
All right?
for the peninsula.
Please.
Thank you.
So we must have peace in South Korea, North Korea, and the Northeast Asia,
In the whole area.
global world.
In the whole world. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'm Bill Miller. Thank you for joining us today on Global Connections Television.